Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this meeting of the Planning and Environment Committee of Handforth Town Council. A couple of housekeeping announcements to start off with. If the fire alarm goes, it is not a drill. Please exit either by the doors at the far end of the room there, or the doors by which you came in, and assemble on the car park outside. Agenda item 1, to receive apologies for absence. Do we have any?
No.
Agenda item 2, to note declarations of interest and requests for dispensation to discuss and vote on a matter in which a member or a co-opted member has a disclosable pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest. Does anybody have any declaration to make there?
No, Chair.
No.
Thank you. Open forum, agenda item 3, open forum. Comment and questions concerning items on this agenda may be put to the council by the public during this period. Matters which in the chair's view require debate and or a discussion will be referred to the next committee or council meeting as appropriate. The public forum is restricted to 15 minutes unless the chair allows otherwise. Do any of the members of the public gathered here want to pass any comment on the agenda?
Comment on the applications?
Going down?
Yes, do it now.
Do it now?
Yes.
All right, so there's a number of 100 application 23/26/32 M. Just I'm the landlord of next door 114. And my two tenants have got concerns over the furnishings and building an outbuilding at the front of the property, which will probably go into public land.
What are we talking about?
114 Window Road.
Oh,
Meet and eat, is it? Yeah.
right, okay.
Sorry, could you just repeat the last part of your announcement?
You've
got concerns
of the two tenants have got concerns of the noise, and that we're going to be building like a structure on public land.
Yeah, okay. Any other comments from members of the public? Then we'll move on to your comments will be addressed, of course.
That's fine.
To approve and sign the minutes of the Planning Committee meeting of the 11th of June 2024. This is agenda item 4. Do any of the members of the committee have any comments to pass on the minutes?
I will do, but my computer's just falling over. I don't think I've got any comments, to be honest.
I have no comments on those minutes either, and they seem okay to me. Would somebody like to propose their acceptance? And all those in favour?
No, you weren't. Thanks, Chris.
So,
I was, so I can.
Yes.
thank you. So the minutes have been signed as satisfactory. Agenda item 5, to consider planning application 242263M, construction of a single-storey side extension and first floor rear extension at 4 Brereton Road, Handforth. Would members of the committee like to open the discussion?
Yes, Chair, I've looked at this. It doesn't look as though there's any issues with it at all. It's within all the usual remit of extensions to properties and so forth.
Any other?
I've looked on the plans, and as far as I can see, there's no problems at all with this.
Right, thank you.
So there are others that have similar things done, I think, down Burton.
Right.
Wouldn't be, out of keeping.
So, my comments. My comments are that both the existing and the proposed structures are of complex design. The proposed northward ground floor extension has no northward facing windows. The proposed westward first floor extension has no windows that face either north or south. The house is well separated from its nearest neighbour in the green. There should be therefore no problems with reduction in privacy, and no comments from neighbours have been recorded. It seems to me that we have no reason to object to this application. So would somebody like to propose? Seems seconded. So can we please vote to not to oppose this application? Looks like unanimous decision. So no objections to 2263M. Which brings us to agenda item 6, to consider planning application 242292M, proposed two-storey detached residential property on vacant land. This is a renewal of an approved application 204598M at 176 Caldy Road, Hanford. I've looked up how the parish council at that time viewed this application. In 2020, it had no objection to the application, but recommended as a condition that the existing parking capacity on adjacent roads should not be reduced. Do we have a mechanism for saying that we would just like to pass the same comment as originally?
Yes, yeah.
Can I have a show of hands from the committee as to whether that's a reasonable issue?
No, Chair, the only thing I couldn't find on plans, as you come to Caldy Road, the house is on here. If you want to turn left, it doesn't show the size of the fence on the boundary round the bend towards. Is there anything, have you found anything? No,
not at all. And do bear in mind, this is simply a refreshing of the planning permission, which was granted in 2020. So I'm not sure we can do anything other than say, our opinion is as it was in 2020.
I agree, I totally agree.
Right.
I'm all for it.
Okay. So can we have a proposer that this be not objected to? Thank you. And a seconder? And all those in favour of that? Thank you. Now we come to agenda item 7, to consider planning application 23/2632M, amalgamation of 2 Class E units for use as cafe/restaurant, alterations to the front elevation fenestration, covered dining area, and relocation of street furniture at 116 Wilmslow Road, Hanford. I'd like to open the discussion on this because I've gone into it in some detail. But before doing so, I would like to make it quite clear I have absolutely and utterly no business connection with any of the shops or businesses in Hanford Village Centre. I found the initial description of this planning application a little confusing in that the amalgamation of 2 Class E units is specified, but I couldn't see any amalgamation of 2 Class E units. So it looks as if there's 1 Class E unit, which is currently used as a cafe restaurant, and they simply want alterations to the front elevation fenestration to construct a covered dining area and to relocate street furniture. There is 1 letter of support from a residential address. There are 3 letters of objection from neighbouring businesses. These letters raise issues with regard to narrowing of the public footpath, And it should be noted that the applicants have given the Highways Department of Cheshire East Council notice of their wish to build on the public footpath, but the Highways Department have yet to respond. So I think there's a great deal of uncertainty as to whether they will get permission to so build. The applicants have stated that they intend at their own expense to move street furniture, that is the cycle racks, to minimise any reduction in footpath width. Now, if you look at the plans and measure them carefully, the gaps between the southwest corner of the planned alfresco unit and an existing tree is 2 metres. Similarly, the gap between the northwest corner of the planned alfresco unit and an existing planter is also 12 metres. The western
2 metres.
Sorry, 2 metres. The western edge of the planned alfresco unit and moved cycle rack will be more than 2 metres. To be DDA compliant, a footpath needs to be 1.5 metres wide to accommodate a wheelchair user and a person walking side by side with the wheelchair user. So the narrowing of the footpath is certainly not excessive, and it still will become or remain DDA compliant. The second point raised in objection is that there might be obstruction of the line of sight by passing trade for neighbouring businesses. The application site is immediately opposite the Italian restaurant on the opposite side of Wilmslow Road, which also has an alfresco dining unit. I am not aware that this structure associated with the Italian restaurant has caused any problems with regard to line of sight for the adjacent newsagents. The third objection is that the proposed alfresco structure is not of aesthetic appearance and does not blend well with the architectural style of the surrounding shops. A similar argument, it seems to me, could be applied to the alfresco dining unit of the Italian restaurant on the opposite side of Wilmslow Road. A fourth objection is that increased noise at night will be associated with longer opening hours, but the supplementary planning statement issued by the applicants states that there will be no increase in opening hours. The closing time will remain at 10 p.m. So any increase in nighttime noise will be minimal. The fifth objection is increased antisocial behaviour and litter. I can't see how these issues will necessarily result from the alfresco dining unit. Increased local parking issues. The proposed alfresco dining unit might attract a further 4 cars into the village centre. It has room for seating 8 people. There are a couple of other factors which are worthy of consideration by this committee. Full-time employees of the bistro will increase from 3 to 4. Part-time employees will increase from 2 to 4. This is consistent with the Town Centre Vitality Plan for Handforth, which states to support appropriate local economic development, to encourage investment and to provide improved employment opportunities for local residents. And the second factor that might be worthy of consideration is that this alfresco dining area might increase the vitality of the town centre. The Town Centre Vitality Plan for Handforth states to protect and enhance the district centre, transforming it into a vibrant centre with a range of activities. So I've approached this simply from the facts presented by the applicants and my own observations of the area. Committee members, it's up to you now to pass your comments.
Can I kick this off? I was very confused when I saw the plan by the outline, the red outline on this plan, which seems to suggest, it doesn't say that, but it appears to me that it's suggesting that this line, which extends across the pavement, is the property of the owner of 116. So that concerned me, so I went on the land registry And I can confirm, without a shadow of a doubt, that the property does not, that area that is outlined in this layout does not belong to the restaurant. The only bit that belongs to the restaurant is, as per this scheduled map here, which just shows the small amount of pavement which is there. Whereas on their map, their red line goes all the way out to here, which I'm not sure why it's there really. I just found it quite confusing. So I didn't like that to start with. However, you cannot build on public land. The Highways Act of 1980 precludes it. And therefore, I think this planning is can't go ahead. I wouldn't object to the same kind of arrangement as they've currently got, and they would have to apply for a license for that. But a physical structure on private land, well, public land rather, not private land, public land, it's all around. It concerns me about the crossing and, you know, restricting that area there. And I just don't think that the council will look at it favourably at all. I think they'd be a lot better if they applied for something that wasn't a physical structure that would be taken down at the end of every evening, which is the classic thing you see in restaurants all over Europe. So I have great concerns about it, apart from the fact that there are residents above. I was concerned when I saw the opening times, because the opening time on Sunday says 8:30 a.m. That's 8:30 on a Sunday morning. We've got young children in an apartment above. I think there's something to be considered there, but that's what my diggings have resulted in finding.
Thank you, Councillor Moore.
I too, when I went online, I, like Councillor Moore, looked at the plans, and it showed the amalgamation of the meet and eat 116 and the bars next door.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
Very confusing. Now,
isn't that the plan?
When you look further down the plans, it just shows the meet and eat extending towards the crossing. You'd never get a wheelchair past there, round that corner. So I'm confused.
Can I ask a question? Not as a councillor, but as a member of the public. Is that all right, Councillor Small?
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Can she ask a question, please?
Yes.
The fact is that the Italian restaurant and the Slovakian restaurant have both got structures. How come they got them, but you say
Can I
you
answer
can't?
Those properties on that side of the road, the property is owned up to the frontage was once the garden. Right, so it goes up to the path. So technically speaking, the landlord could do anything he liked on that piece of land.
I thought that was it, because it's a far wider pavement.
Yes, it's a much wider pavement, but purely because there were gardens there. That's
My
the only reason.
concern would be the crossing. Children, high school, cars turning in to what was outside the bank, a reduced area, children walking 3s and 4s to the crossing, a car coming in there, then on the curb, you're going to have an accident. Of course, your sighted line is blocked when you're coming out from the Spa car park to look up the road, because there's a building halfway across the pavement. So the line of sight for, postmen, shoppers, everything is blocked.
Yeah, it's a very busy junction there, isn't it?
Extremely
Very busy.
Given the measurements from the plans, I don't think there is a problem with getting a wheelchair between this proposed extension and either the planter or the existing tree. There's no problem there. And with regard to the cycle rack, the applicants want to move it anyway. So I don't think access for a wheelchair
Would you get a double buggy?
is a particular issue, but
A double buggy is wider than a wheelchair.
Yeah,
yeah.
You won't get it along.
I'm a person walking side.
You know, double buggy, child, parent, no chance.
We'll take a
I mean,
yes.
I know that Meet and Eat are buying the barbers next door to extend because they're not big enough. But they're doing very well and they're not big enough. So I know that they're extending into the barbers to make it a bigger restaurant. But I mean, I don't think even having a bit of, you know, space outside, I don't think that would hinder too much of, because I know where everyone's coming from about double buggies and whatnot, but if you think about it, if you think about the space, it's actually quite a decent sized space where it could be, you could have that seating outside, but because they are doing well, and I know guessing that Handfuls needs the do you know what I mean, to bring the people in and bring jobs in, and if you can extend it.
I think the fundamental point is that these applicants have applied for permission to build on the public footpath with Cheshire East Council, but they have not received permission to do so. In that event, I don't think we can recommend this for approval. I think we will have to say something like, we've considered the application quite carefully, but we note that the applicants do not have permission from Cheshire East Council to build on highways land.
Yeah.
And therefore, we can comment no further until such time as permission is given.
And let's face it, if that was done, that would set a massive precedent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To build on that land which belongs to Cheshire East.
There are sorry to raise this, but there are precedents for building on highways land, as I know full well, with regard to the building of the War Memorial. And that is built on highways land, and we had a tremendous.
People are walking past there, aren't they?
Yeah. We have. So it is possible to do it, but usually it's quite a difficult thing to achieve. So what I would recommend to the yes, sorry, Councillor Moore, yes.
I'm not against the idea. I think raise the profile, blah blah blah. But I think the point we're now making is that it's against the law. You can't build on public land. I think that it would stop there. What they can do, having done a bit of research, my understanding is that you've got payment licenses where you can actually apply to the appropriate council to put out chairs and tables. Again, you've got to agree the area you're going to cover. So all these things come into play again, how far you go. But you have to remove it every night.
Yeah,
and actually pay for it. And it's so, and it seems to be there's a government sort of guideline, but different councils apply in different ways. You mentioned this 1.8 metres, some apply 2 metres. Manchester City will stipulate with just the pavement thing, you can only have half the pavement area. So it's quite vague, but it seems to me their only way forward is to apply for a pavement licence. And I wouldn't get to that. I guess that would be.
I think they have a pavement licence already.
Yes, but I think it's only
the area.
for one set
You've
of
got to stipulate how much of the pavement you want, and you'll be told yes or no, or you can have this amount.
So may I repeat my suggestion then, that the view of this committee would be that we cannot pass comment on this application until such time as the applicants have permission from Cheshire East Council to build on council land,
yes,
on highways land.
Absolutely.
Would committee members be agreeable to that?
I would like to add on to that though, the visibility. If you come out of Crossfield and want to turn left towards Winslow, your vision is going to be restricted quite a bit.
The point, Chris, is that to get it, except you can do it, that's when we start to raise all the issues.
I think we should add on to what you say and put something in their mind that that's the way we're thinking.
I'll see your point.
Okay.
See your point. Yeah.
I'd like you to mention the 1980 Highways Act.
You probably know that.
Well, but if we don't put it down there, who knows? I'd like it mentioned, please.
Okay. So would you like to suggest a form of words then?
Just that we can't, exactly what you said, but add into that, that because our understanding of the 1980 Highways Act is that you cannot build on public land,
Okay.
particularly when it's pedestrianised way.
Shall we say that the Planning and Environment Committee have some reservations about this
Yes, I think so,
application,
yeah.
which relate to building on public highways land
Yes,
under the whatever the act is that you just
1980 Highways Act.
right.
In section 115.
We also have some reservations about visibility.
Yes, yeah.
How does that sound?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we
Yeah,
concoct
I would
something
go words
along those lines?
Yes, yeah.
So could I have a show of hands then, those who are willing to go along with that suggestion? Thank you, thank you. And can we vote on that, please? Yeah, so that's unanimous. Ashley and I will get together and make sure that a suitable formal words is used to cover this particular application.
Yeah.
So that was quite a difficult one, I thought.
Yeah, indeed.
Which brings us to hopefully something a little simpler. Agenda item 8 to consider planning application 242401M, proposed replacement of business related signage to the existing Rolls-Royce Wilmslow showroom to include one building mounted sign and one freestanding totem sign at Deanway Technology Centre, Wilmslow Road, Hanthorpe. I had absolutely no problems with this one.
Neither do I.
So can I have a proposer that this that we do not object to this application, and a seconder, please, and all in favour of that? Thank you. Look like unanimous. 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 It's been a long, hard evening so far. Right. Which I think concludes our.
It does, we don't have anything under item 9, so.
Right. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. If there are matters, and the meeting closed at 7:38. Is that right?
29.
Something like